What a beautiful day. Get out there in the sun. All the guys are excited, fired up. A lot of great energy on the grass today. And then we got just amazing weather, 65 degrees and sunny. I mean, you can't beat it. So for this time of year to be able to get outside and work on your craft, it means a lot, to just be connecting together. And we're excited about this week.
Did the later practice time have anything to do with kind of simulating what time you guys would play this week?
It did not, because we had to wait to see the outcome of the Atlanta-New Orleans game. We started our game planning really later that night, and then we needed the full day as a staff to put that together. So we just kind of needed this morning as well to make sure the cards are right. All the guys, all hands on deck to just make sure we're prepped and ready for the practice. So that's why we did it.
Dave, playoff performance can kind of make a guy's career and reputation, especially at the quarterback position. How excited are you to see how Bryce does in this moment?
I'm so fired up for Bryce and for the whole crew, but these are the moments, and in my mind, when we've put Bryce into these high-stakes situations, he's performed well, whether it's going for it on fourth down, end-of-game type of stuff. It's an area where he just continues to execute and do the basics and the fundamentals that we ask him to, and so these games are like that, and when you're playing a great opponent like the Rams, all the little execution and the fundamentals are so important. And so I love this challenge for our group and especially for Bryce.
You guys have played so well as an underdog in these sort of the games where nobody thinks you're going to win, right? What's your message to the guys in those situations? And I would imagine going into Saturday when most of the people outside the locker room think you may not.
Well, while I understand that there's always the favorites and there's always the point spread and all those things, we can't really think about that, and I know that the guys are aware of it. I know that I'm aware of it. I see it on TV. It doesn't matter. What matters to us is to play our best football, to make sure that we execute, and it's going to come back to the fundamentals. Did we block well enough? Did we tackle? Did we take care of the ball? That's always what it's going to be about, and that gives you a chance to win, and I fully believe that. The group believes that, and that's what we have to go out there and find.
David, the flip side of the young guys going into the playoffs, to follow up on Joe's question, are your rookies still rookies at this point? I mean, the guys that you've kind of leaned on throughout the year, watched them develop, where do you see those guys in terms of their progression as they've gone through now a full season and heading into their first postseason game?
Yeah, this young group of rookies have been really professional in how they've worked and battled through things, battled through bumps and bruises, and also just battled through the emotional, mental toll that an NFL season can take on you. And they just really stayed together and take to the coaching. They've been humble about it, and have been great, just being coachable on the little things that they need to continue to improve. And so, and then, when I look at this group, there's guys that have been in really high stakes games. Lathan Ransom was a national champ before he came here, and Trevor Etienne's played in big games. Bryce has played in big games. There's a bunch of guys that have exposure. It's no different. It's just in a different level, but it's really exciting for the whole group to have this experience, and also for me as their head coach to say, guys, I've been to a lot of playoff games, and you're going to see it's going to be a special moment, and Bank of America Stadium is going to be electric, and our fans are going to be completely into it. It's going to be loud. It's going to be just right. And these are the exact moments. I want them to be able to appreciate those things, but not to let that distract them from just executing and doing their job.
Into a lot of playoff games, but this is your first playoff game, obviously, as a head coach. What's going through your mind? What are your vibes this week?
I'm just really proud. I'm really proud of the work that it took as the entire organization and this full group of all of us, just taking one day at a time and just continuing to try to push the envelope. Just try to push it a little bit further every day. What does a win look like today? And what are the areas of improvements? Can we just get incrementally better over time? And that commitment, that consistency, that type of character for this whole group is what I'm really proud of and excited for. And then as far as, the playoff experience goes, it's just, I've been there. I know what it feels like. And it's so important that we don't just block it all out, that we take it in and use it. Use that energy. Use Bank of America Stadium. Playing at home is why it's so important to win the division. You get that first home game, and we're excited about that.
Dave, you said in training camp that teams were not going to want to play you guys. What did you see early on from this group that, this isn't a surprise for you to be in this position?
Right. I think first and foremost, just the team that Dan Morgan has assembled, and all of us are involved in giving the information, but he's done an amazing job of evaluating what we need. And while you can't fix everything at once, you just add pieces. You add high character football players, Panthers football players, the guys that we try to identify are the ones who we know we can coach them hard. We know we can push them. We know they're tough because they play through things, and certainly because they're excellent football players. And whether it's in free agency or whether it's through the draft, just continuing to accumulate players that embody what we're looking for. And so going into this camp, and I could see this group, and I could see the potential of what we could be. And it's taken us a long time to find an identity, and we've been up and down at different times. But just the promise of having this group and knowing that it's our job, it's my job to bring this whole thing together, and we get one more opportunity to do that.
With weighing Robert Hunt and David Moore playing, obviously they've been out for a while. You've gotten to this point with this set group of guys. How much do you have to weigh the fact that there were guys that help you get here versus guys who maybe make you a little bit more talented on game day?
That's always a really difficult decision for me and for Dan. As we think about the guys who've worked so hard to help us to get this point, and understanding that the plan was always that Rob and Demo were going to help us do that, and now they're ready, and we have this window to evaluate the guys, to get David back on the team and evaluate if we can have him up this week or not. We have to make those decisions too. Rob's got a couple of huge days. He looked great today. Tomorrow's going to be an elevated practice. We're going to run a little bit more, push on each other a little bit, and that's going to be a really big test for him. So we're just going to have to take that one day to day. But I'm very optimistic about he's excited about it. He's so proud to be a part of what we've been doing. He's kind of been watching it, from the sideline, literally. But to be a part of where we're at, it should feel really special for Rob.
When you look back at that week 13 game, there were a couple moments, special offense, where you're really aggressive. Like, how much of that was mindset, like nothing to lose, versus what you saw, and how much can you replicate that this week?
Just looking for opportunities to be aggressive, when it comes up, and, whether that's going for it on fourth down or taking shots down the field, but it all hinges upon how well our run game does and puts us in favorable third downs to make an extra set of downs. It's something that we've struggled with the last 2 weeks, really not converting a lot on our third downs, and just the timing and rhythm of it, making sure the guys understand what the breakdowns are, making sure they understand what type of coverages and things we're getting, and that will allow us to just get deeper and deeper into the game plan, into the call sheet. That's what allows you to set things up. We need continuity. We need drives to sustain so that we can show them different runs for the play actions. We can show them this pass that complements this other pass, in the screen game. So the more downs you can get, the better off you are, and the more dangerous you can be on the offense.
Dave, kind of building
Stafford came in on a heater, really. I mean, hot as any quarterback's ever been, probably. You guys were able to turn him over 3 times. What did you do right in that game, and can you replicate that again on Saturday?
We're going to certainly try. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you exactly what we did, but it was really just our defense coming together and doing a pretty good job against the run game to force them into some known pass situations, and we affected them with our rush a couple of different ways. And that's not just with Matthew Stafford. That's with any quarterback. If you can affect the passer early on in the game and you can be around him and just make the pocket uncomfortable, then they have to throw the ball a little bit quicker. They have to make those decisions, and hopefully you can take advantage of it.
Dave, kind of building on that.
We're going to do it. Hold on, we're going to do a couple
Give
more.
confidence to you that you can slow them down again.
It certainly should give our guys confidence that if we do right, if we all do our jobs, we can play with anybody. And that's the message that we have to take from that game is this is an excellent football team. And by no means do I think we're going to just automatically replicate some game plan that we had. It takes execution down in and down out and guys playing together.
Hold on, everybody. We're going to take David Newton, Jeff Hawkins, and Alex Sitlow.
And General, can you just talk about the defense and evolution a bit? Last year, worst in the league. This year, kind of middle of the pack, and how big that's been, and the team getting to where it is?
Yeah, first and foremost, just talking about Ajero and just the excellent job that he's done. And, with the challenges of last year, what I saw from him was consistency, character, looking for solutions, and looking for ways to try to just deploy the guys that we have. We added some great pieces. Again, talking about Dan, just adding guys like Trey Merrick into the mix, and, adding guys like Turk Wharton, obviously getting Derek back, Christian Roseboom, who's done a great job for us. These are guys that we've counted on to come through and to play together. And he's done a great job of just also within that, there's scheme and there's understanding who your players are, bringing them together so that we have the right concepts we can execute. And Jero and the defensive staff have been tireless just bringing these guys together. And then the players have taken a lot of that on their own and do the extra work, have the conversation so that they play connected.
Well, Mike Jackson had a big pick six in the first game against the Rams and remains among the league leaders in passes defense. Playing in the shadow of JC, is he one of the most overlooked players in the league?
I think so. I think Mike Jack doesn't get enough praise, and for the job that he's done, he's number one in the NFL in pass breakups, and that comes from film study, that comes from technique, his individual drill work. He's so focused on it. If you look at his body and his body language and demeanor in a walk-through rep, he's in his stance just like he would be in a game. He's evaluating the formation with his cleats in the ground, so he's ready to play. And he's a guy that I've known for a really long time. He's always been just a fierce competitor, consistent guy that you can count on, and he's just also just a high character guy and a great teammate. He doesn't say a lot, but he's so professional about what he does, and he's accountable to the things that he knows he can fix. So I can't say enough about Mike Jack.
Dave, that first matchup with the Rams, 4 defensive playmakers for y'all were out, among them J.C. Horn, Trayvon, Christian Rosemoon. They're all here this week. Have you been able to sense how excited they are? And then just generally, it's pretty much everyone was at practice today. Is there a playoff vibe, a sense that, hey, if I can go, I'm going to go this week?
Absolutely. All the guys that, Denny has been working on in the training room, all the guys that are close, they're pushing. They want to be out there with their teammates. And there's a, as much as I preach every game is a championship opportunity, there's nothing like the playoffs. And it just brings, an energy, it brings a sense of pride. We know that it's an exclusive group, and we had to work really hard to be in this position, and the guys are excited about that. All right, thank you.